1 in 5 Australians reported living with a disability in 2015. Of those, 1.6 million use public transport. Derya, Semirli, takes the train along with 235 million other users annually. She travels on the network 4 to 6 times a week.
My journey is from Melbourne station, heading to the city, or to Southern Cross. It depends on what I need to do on a daily basis.
But Derya wouldn't be commuting to the city if Travellers Aid wasn't there to meet her. Travellers Aid has been around for 101 years, providing personal care services, meal assistance and communication support at Flinders Street and Southern Cross stations. Travellers Aid CEO Elias Lebbos has been working with members of the community living with a disability for 10 years.
It's probably the biggest and best kept secret in Melbourne. There aren't any other cities in Australia who have a service similar to what we provide for the travelling public.
There's no discrimination with Travellers Aid. It's just great. They're willing to hold your hand all the way through if need be. It's the Australian soul of helping one another. I think that's beautiful.
Peter Waters, or Muddy as his friends know him, is a daily train user.
I've been coming here for nearly 30 years. I wouldn't do that if I wasn't any good.
Like Derya, Peter uses Travellers Aid each time he commutes into the city.
I'm living my life as an independent person. I'm taking my call.
Travellers Aid works closely with Public Transport Victoria and V-Line to make their service accessible to everyone.
We don't leave anyone behind. All the staff at Southern Cross Station, regardless of who they work for, are well aware of the organisation. We've been there for 101 years and they'll radio through and we can always pick someone up.
While Travellers Aid provides support to those using mobility aids and wheelchairs, the current train network isn't providing the same accessibility. According to Metro's action plan, 72 raised boarding pads were installed to decrease the gap between platforms and trains. But not all the gaps have been bridged.
Some are even, some are not. So if it's not, they bring out a ramp and then I jump off the ramp and get myself into the train. And of course the driver will ask how far do I want to go, which station, etc. Once they know that, then the chances of them not dropping you off are less likely.
As well as boarding issues, lifts also create problems. City Loop station lifts were temporarily closed for maintenance works on more than one occasion this year. The latest in a line of works includes the Water Gardens lift upgrade, forcing a 2-month elevator closure. But the inconvenience is far greater than just a few closed lifts.
I think what some people have been complaining about is that some of the stations have chronic problems with their lifts. In other words, it's often broken down, and clearly that means that there's some more significant problem that somebody's not dealing with.
Julie Phillips, Manager of Disability Discrimination Legal Service, is no stranger to complaints over the public transport system.
There are standards that transport departments are meant to be meeting to ensure that people with disabilities can actually travel on public transport, and they're not meeting them and haven't been.
Ramps have been repeatedly offered as a solution to broken down lifts.
You go footway, for example, perfect public status. They could live and move all that, and you can't go wrong.
While ramps are convenient for mobility aid users, Julie says ramps come with their own set of problems for those with a manual wheelchair.
Ramps are just too steep for people with manual wheelchairs to get up. You might have an accessible train, but you can't get up the platform.
Julie says the way to increase accessibility is through education by training public transport staff as disability liaison officers.
It's only when you get to understand about different disabilities and how they impact upon a person that you start thinking in a different way about how accessible not only, for example, your transport is, but your feedback loops are, your complaint processes are. And if you have someone in that role, it should be their job to get out and meet with people with disabilities, meet with disability advocacy agencies, make assertive inquiries as to what they can do to make their processes more accessible.
Stepping up education might give users with a disability the confidence they seek to use the network.
I think it'll give us more freedom and more independence working society, you know, if there's a concert or any activity. As long as it's wheelchair accessible, I think people will be more willing to go out more and enjoy the atmosphere and the company of other people as well.
As PTV expands Melbourne's train network, there's only hope users like Derya will be factored into the plan.